Hello, this is Jamie Mitchell, and we are back with another episode of the Libertarian Uncensored Podcast, going over all the posts on the Libertarian Uncensored subreddit. They did just ban me from the subreddit, so I can't post anymore yeah, it's so much for being uncensored, but they can't censor me here, so I'm still going to be going over all the posts, even if they won't let me post anymore. So first we have, it's un-American to force COVID-19 vaccines on people who want to become Americans, and spot from Thomas Massey on Twitter, and I posted that. And he added, thank you to Representative August for co-sponsoring H.R. 4726 to repeal the ridiculous mandate that requires those seeking legal permanent residence or U.S. citizenship to take COVID-19 vaccines. And I said in response, it's interesting to me how a lot of people who want a vaccine requirement for illegal immigrants seemingly also want as many illegal immigrants as possible and don't really care if they're vaccinated or not. And that just goes to show you that, illegal immigrants are in the in-group, so it does their vaccination status is irrelevant, but legal immigrants are less in the in-group, so they need to be vaccinated, according to the progressives. And that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have, wait, why did the price of houses just jump $25,000 from Spike Cohen on Twitter, and then he was him quote tweeting Mario Nawful. Kamala to unveil $25,000 down payment plan for first-time home buyers. VP Kamala Harris is set to announce significant housing proposals during her visit to North Carolina tomorrow. And I said in response, it's amazing just how economically illiterate she is. I don't think Trump is that much more economically literate, but this woman, she just seems to be very economically illiterate, and that's why I personally am not going to be voting for her, and that's my thoughts there. Then we have victims of price controls, gassing, drowning, and suffocating a million baby chicks from lemon limelight. And they said in 1973, Nixon ordered to freeze on all retail prices, including those of food, for as much as 60 days. This order controlled the price of chickens, but not the grain to feed them. Selling chickens became unprofitable as feed prices rose, so poultry farmers cut their losses by systemically gassing, drowning, and suffocating a million baby chicks. One farmer regretted the waste, but said the day-old chicks were of no economic value. Either do it now or let them die of starvation later. Hens, sales, and cows met similar fate. When set by supply and demand, prices coordinate our incomprehensibly complex economy with marvelous efficiency. When bureaucrats set prices, that's distorted misery, and apparently the message of our farmland for our friends. And I would agree with that. We need to keep the market free. We can't let the government say what the prices of things should be. That's why I'm very against the Federal Reserve, because the Federal Reserve can inflate or deflate the value of currency at will, and I don't think that's very libertarian. I think that goes against the free market, and that's my thoughts on that issue. And we have House GOP sets its sights on walls from Politico.com by Frosty Slowman. And this is about how apparently the House GOP, House Oversight Committee, is opening investigation of Democrats' vice presidential pick. And yeah, if they want to do that, I think they should be able to. I don't know if sometimes in politics the one party goes after the other party, and you just have to deal with it. Look at Trump. They've used a lot of lawfare against him, but he deals with it, and I think the Democrats should have to deal with it as well. And that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have poll. Now that we know the full tickets of the likely top 5 vote getters of these post-election, who are you planning on voting for or would vote for this November? And I posted that, and I said, going with Chase Oliver. I'm somehow the homophobic one, though. Bonus question, what do you think the odds are going to be? I would say that would be 55-45 in favor of Harris over Trump. It's very much the repeat of 2016 that Harris is more likely than not to win, but Trump victory is definitely still on the table. And I said, and then let's check the response to the polls. 12 votes for Kamala Harris, Tim Walz of the Democratic Party, 4 votes for Donald Trump, J.D. Vance of the Republican Party, 2 votes for Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Nicole Shanahan, Independent, 7 votes for Chase Oliver, Mike Turmat, Libertarian Party, 2 votes for Jill Stein, Butch Ware of the Green Party, 5 votes over abstain. So yeah, 32 votes total. Looks like Kamala Harris would win that poll, but I guess we'll just wait and see what happens. And yeah. Then we have massive disinformation campaign slowing global transition to green energy from TheGuardian.com by throwaway146225. And I said in response, anything I don't like is disinformation. I used to really like The Guardian back in the 2010s as well during my more progressive years. And that just goes to show you how they'll just find a way to label any dissent at all as disinformation, misinformation, hate speech. And increasingly, there's nothing that people can do about that. We have to stand up and say, if you want to label it that you should be able to. But with that being said, I should be able to say it anyway. And if you want to think it's disinformation, I should be able to. But I should be able to think what everything you say is misinformation as well. And that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have Idaho School District now needs parental consent for band-aids and other basic first aid from NBCnews.com by FilmZL56553. And I said in response, I'm pretty pro parents' rights, but I do think that the line does have to be drawn somewhere. And yeah, ultimately, if they do want the kids to want the kids to sign a waiver for once parents sign a waiver for like stuff like band-aids, I think they should be able to. With that being said, at that point, I would say just homeschool your kids if you don't trust them. The school to administer band-aids, and that's my thoughts there. Then we have how will Ben Shapiro and others deflect from this? From Ragnar OKXT, and that's crosswords from the Public Freakout subreddit. IDF shot an American volunteer defending Palestinian land in the West Bank. And yeah, that just goes to show you how Israel is not America's ally. Just like, no country is really America's ally. Some people might say, like NATO allies or Israel or Ukraine, but no country is really America's ally. The only one who is constantly in America's self-interest is America. All the other countries are, just there for to turn on us at any second. And that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have Go Ahead Donald, Sue Us, from Donald Key, and that's a YouTube video from the Lincoln Project. And so apparently Trump threatened to sue the Lincoln Project. This is their response video. And I personally think if anyone wants to sue anyone for any reason, I think they should be able to. So if Donald Trump doesn't want to sue the Lincoln Project, I think he should be able to do so, I don't really care for Donald Trump. I think he's a grifter, but I think the Lincoln Project are very much grifters as well in that regard. Then we have Violence Was Inevitable, how 7 key players remember the chaos of 1968's the Democratic National Convention protest from Time.com by Frosty Slawman. And it just goes to show you how it looks like we're repeating the 1968 election. We know of assassination attempts, RFK in the race, and, the chaos at the Chicago Democratic Convention. And yeah, that's my thoughts there. Then we have Don't Blame Dealers for Fentanyl Deaths, Blame Drug Warriors from Reason.com by Sensational Banana 420. And they added, I happen to disagree with Reason here. It's not like these dealers/doctors don't know what they're selling prescribing. Not sure intent matters when you're giving out doses that can kill a man several times over. Reason makes the argument that criminalizing the sales in such a way makes the drug transfer trade unsafer, but people are already dying due to the actions of this black market. As much as I believe we overcriminalize things in this country, including drugs, how are you responsible for so long as you're not the middleman? And my thoughts on that are, ultimately sometimes drugs might kill you, but if someone wants to take them anyway, they should be able to do so. I personally don't think you should be out on the street tripping on drugs all day that could potentially be deadly, but, ultimately each person should be able to justify whatever they want to, and that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have USA Today, Trump throws True Social under the bus in panicked embrace of X and Elon Musk. And that's from Baton 13, and that's crosswords from the DJT Uncensored subreddit. And I personally think, if Trump wants to be on True Social, I think he should be able to. With that being said, but X is by far the bigger platform, and I think he's smart to throw True Social under the bus in favor of X. And that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have Kamala at the People's Republic of Chicago, according to MAGA, from Anarcho Federation. That's the tweet from @RealDonaldTrump. And that's Kamala in Chicago Arena, and it's all giant communist flags out, and I think I think she is kind of on the communist side. That's why I like to call her Kamala Harris. But I definitely think Trump's probably more on the communist side as well. I think they're all pretty much communists at this point, and that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have The Media's Double Standard Favors Donald Trump, not Kamala Harris, from NYMag.com by Donald Key. And I think that's BS. I think the media is clearly wants to just coronate Queen Kamala already, just like they did for Queen Hillary in 2016. And I do think, they do give Donald Trump a lot of free media coverage, but other than that, it's almost all pretty much negative. And, so I think it doesn't really matter what they want to do. I would just say just stop covering him if you hate him that much. But they just keep covering him anyway. But yeah, they definitely are extremely biased in favor of Kamala, and that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have Project 2025 co-author called Admitting Secret Conservative Plan to Ban Porn from TheIntercept.com by Baton 13. And Yeah, I don't think that's going to be too realistic, but I personally think porn's bad. But ultimately, I think if people want to do porn, just like with drugs, they should be able to do it, and that's my thoughts on that issue. And we have Chicago businesses boarding up, racing for protests that have Democratic National Convention from FoxNews.com by Frosty Slowman. And my thoughts on that are, if they want to board up, I think they should be able to. And hopefully the protests aren't too bad. But yeah, you never know if all these radical leftists running about. And that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have No Title Necessary from CH4Locks, and that's crosswords from the White People Twitter subreddit. And it's a tweet from Ron Filipowski, just posted by Trump, and it was a tweet from Donald Trump. He's screenshot a tweet from AKA, if you're a woman, you can either vote for Trump or wait until one of these monsters goes after your daughter. And yeah, and it was a pack of immigrants, it looks like, on like some caravan going to the border. And I personally think illegal immigrants do commit crime, but that being said, they'll get over if Donald Trump's president. Look at Molly Tibbetts. She got murdered by an illegal immigrant in 2018 when Donald Trump was president, and it just goes to show you that the politicians will say, "Oh, I'm going to solve all your problems," but even with Donald Trump in office, illegal immigrants were still murdering people, and that just goes to show you that you need to save yourself. You can't rely on the politicians to save you, and that's my thoughts there. And we have 94 banks at serious risk of bank runs, including BNY, State Street, JP Morgan, Chase and Citi, report the debt from the Daily Hodl by Ninja Lover. And yeah, it just goes to show you that the bank system really isn't working right now. And I think the big reason why is the Federal Reserve. We gotta get rid of that first and foremost, and then then let the market correct itself on that there. And that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have need a U.S. visa. You better have at least 677 days to see what some World Cup fans are learning from NPR.org by FlimsyL 556 free. And yeah, it just goes to show you how difficult, even legal travel can be. And that's why I think a lot of people do stuff like immigration illegally. And that's my thoughts on that issue. So we're going to wrap it up there. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.